How to convert your bike into an e-bike. I'm Clive Packham of Easi-Fit Ebike Kits. Today I'm going to show you how to use our kit to convert your bike into a smart e-bike in less than 30 minutes. Hi, Clive here from Easi-Fit Ebike Kits. Today I'm going to demonstrate how easy it is to fit one of our kits to my bike. Okay, so let's start by looking at what does come in the kit. First of all, the most important part obviously is our wheel. This is a fully motorised wheel. Comes with a cable on the side which we're going to connect up to the cable that comes from our battery. Quite a simple little thing, and I'll show you how to connect it up as we go along. I just will point out on the other side, I've had to fit a disc to mine because my bike's actually got a disc on it. So therefore I put a disc rotor on there. 160 is the one that we supply, but you can always swap over your own disc if you want. If you've got a different size to that, then swap over your disc from your bike onto our wheel. 6 screws, fairly simple to follow. However, if you haven't got disc brakes on yours and you've got the V brake on your bike, then you obviously don't need to worry about fitting the rotor to it, because the wheel will just slip straight into place alongside your V brakes. Okay, moving on. We've got here the powerhouse of the bike. This is our battery, and the control unit is in the actual holder on the bottom here. Very simple to remove. You've just got a simple key like this where you turn it around once and then you can remove the battery. If you look inside the holder here, you can see there's 2 prongs where the battery sits, and this is the bit where they locks. Okay, and the lock works with that little bar in the hair going across that hole. So that little bar goes across. So make sure before you fit the battery that is in that position like that, and you can remove the key. And to fit it, all you do is slide it in to there, and then you lock it up, remove your key, and your battery is now nice and secure in the unit. You've got a little red button on the top which turns it on and off. I've just turned that off. If I hit it again, it bleeps. I've turned it on. So that's how you know it's off. There's no bleep. Hit it again and it's on. You know that it's then on, so that's that bleep. Okay. Now also with your bike kit will come our Bluetooth controller, our display controller. Very simple little thing. I just want to show you first of all that in the lid there's a set of instructions. A lot of people have missed those. The instructions to the unit are inside the lid. Also inside the box you'll find a lead. This is a lead that you can charge up the remote controller with. Plugs into the battery, and you can plug into the controller to charge it up. Now here is the actual display unit here. It has 3 buttons on it, an up and a down button and a power on button, which I'll go through in much more detail later. I strongly recommend that we fit it straight onto the handlebars, and I'll show you how to do that by removing your grip and sliding it onto the handlebar and then putting your grip back on again. However, if you don't want to put it directly onto your handlebars, maybe you've got gear changes that are in the end of the handlebar and you can't do it, you can't remove them, then we do also supply an extension kit, so you can actually put it above all your gear controls, etc. However, I don't recommend this one. I'd much rather that you put it straight on the handlebars if you can. Lastly, if you don't want to use the display unit but you want to have your mobile phone on the bike, we supply a little mobile phone holder which you put onto your bike, and then you can put your mobile phone, just fits into there, and you just screw it up on the side, and there you go, mobile phone nice and secure. Okay, now it's time to fit it to the bike. Hi, I've turned the bike upside down. I find that the easiest way to do this, so we're going to fit the wheel first. But of course before we do that we've got to remove the old one. So luckily enough with my bike it is this quick release, as you can see, so I can very simply release the brake there and the wheel there and then lift it out. So there it goes, it comes out nice and clear. Now before I do anything else, with my disc, when you fit into a disc brake, I'm going to recommend that you loosen off these 2 screws here, this one and this one here. This is what holds the caliper of the brake in place, and we're going to loosen those off because we want to make sure that our wheel fits on nicely without any binding. So I'll loosen these off first of all, and I'll loosen the bottom one off and get them nice and loose. using, by the way, these tools that we supplied. The Allen keys. You see now it's nice and loose, it can slide backwards and forwards. We've got, you know, probably about 1/4 inch movement there, which is quite good. So when we come to fitting the actual wheel, I can slide this about and I'll show you how to do that and how to fit it. Okay, next thing, let's put the wheel in. Okay, well now we're going to fit the wheel to the bike. And what I'm doing today is offer it up first to the bike. Because the key thing here is to make sure that the right washers are in place so that they fit inside the wheel. Okay, very, very important. And if you see these rotating ones here with a big slot on the top, that has to go in the fork. It can go in the inside or it can go in the outside, it doesn't matter, but it has to go into the fork. And there's one on the other side. If you look at the other side here, there's one on the other side here. You can see the big chunky rotating one there. That has to go in the gap in the fork. Okay, and the most important thing is that the whole thing fits inside the fork here. So this one's not set up right, so what I'm going to do is put it on the ground and then we're going to set it up. Okay. Okay, now I've taken the wheel off again and I'm going to set up the washers correctly in the way that I do it. Now it doesn't have to be done the way I'm doing it now. It's just important that it actually fills the gap, but I've found the way I'm going to show you now is the easiest way to do it. There's a nut here that's loose. I take that off completely. You could leave it on there and you could use that to fill the gap if you like, if you want to drive yourself mad fiddling around with nuts inside the fork, but I find it easier to remove it. I'm just taking that right off. And usually you find there's a couple of washers behind there, so we just shut that out a bit. There's 2 washers there, 2 thin washers. I'll leave them in place, just push them back. So you've got the 2 washers that side there. And the nut I'll take off completely. Then what I do, I put the rotating one, if you can see here, this rotating one, back on. Now that's important again to get that the right way around. It can either go that way or it can go that way. And this part, this notch part here must be in the fork of the bike. So we've got the wheel the right way up, I believe. Let's have a look. Yeah. If you just come around the other side here, you can see there's an important part here. This cable has to be pointing, this notch here has to be pointing at the handlebar. Okay, so that bit there has to be pointing at, which as you are upside down means that's got to point downwards. Okay, so what I do is turn that up now so it's pointing downwards, so I know which way it is. And then if you notice, the rotating washers are on the top side here. And if I look at the other side again, we go back to this one. I'm going to put this rotating washer on the right way up, so the tab at the top, like that, slide that into place. So that is going to go on the inside of the fork, as is my other one on the other side. And then what we need next is a spring washer. Then next, a flat washer. And then finally, the actual nut that holds it all on. And just put it on the very end like that, so you've got a nice big gap, because your fork is going to go here, and this is going to slide into the fork, that bit there. And let's do the same on the other side. We've got the rotating washer at the back, and there's the tab at the top, same as on the other side. And if you notice here, I've got the spring washer next, and then I've got the flat washer. But the fork is going to go in between the spring washer and the rotating washer on both sides. Okay, so rotating washer on the inside. Okay, so now we're going to put that into the wheel. So now that we've got the washers lined up correctly, we're now going to pick the wheel up and put it straight into the wheel, into the bike. So we pick it up, slide it in. A couple of things to be aware of here. Slide that back there a bit. Now, have you noticed that that rotating washer has gone straight into the slot of the fork, which is perfect? Okay, and can you see there's no gap there? And if I wiggle it, there's no gap because it's the ideal spacing. Okay, and if you come over the other side, you see exactly the same on the other side. The notch has gone into the fork beautifully there, and there's no play, there's no gap between my fork or any washers. If you find you do this and there's still a gap, then put thin washers in the middle. Try and basically make this a snug fit so you're not squeezing your forks in and pressurising it. Okay, and then all we've got to do, we've got the, now obviously you've got the disc brake on the right side and we've got the cable on the other side. For people that have got a V-brake and there's no disc brake to guide them, then the cable should be coming out of the right hand side. Okay, the right hand side of the wheel, the cable. And don't forget, importantly, this notch, look, there's a notch underneath here now. You can't see it, but it's pointing down to the handlebars. If that notch is pointing up, it's the wrong way around. Okay, the notch has got to point down towards the handlebars. In the manual, I think it says up towards the handlebars, but of course we've got the bike upside down, so we're pointing down. And all we've got to do when that's done is we tighten up the nuts either side. So I'm going to tighten the nuts up now, and I'm going to use my spanner to tighten it up. Again, this is the spanner that comes with the kit. So get that nice and tight. Make sure your wheel is nice and tight, quite important. It fits in there tightly. On this side, you have to remove this rubber nut cover. So remove that and then slide your spanner over there and then tighten up this side. Oops, there you go. So that's nice and tight. There you go. Then slide that off. Then slide your nut cover straight back on again. There you go. And fit your nut cover onto your nut. Like so. There you go. It might not go on perfectly because at the moment the wheel's pointing the wrong way down. And then as we finish tightening up this one, try not to drop your spanner while you're doing it. Tighten it up like that. Right, so that's now tight. Now spin the wheel. You see it spins nicely. That's because the brake is nice and loose here. Now, here's the key, how we're going to tighten up the brake to make it fit correctly. What we do, we get our Allen key back that we need to tighten them up. So there's this one here to tighten these up. Now do you want to come around the other side of that camera? We can show this. So I'm going to tighten these screws up here in a sec. Remember, it's all nice and loose. At the moment it's nice and loose. But before we do that, I'm going to just put my foot on the front brake. Didn't I show that clear down there? Now the front brake is on. Okay, clear. Back up here. The front brake is now on, and I can't move the wheel. So now, while it's like that, tighten up these two screws again. So with your foot on the front brake, then just tighten these up. What that does, that gives you the perfect place. So I just tighten that one up. Now I've just got to tighten the bottom one up as well. Obviously, I can see it. There it is down there. What am I going to do? Pinch it up like that, I think. Should be a bit easier for me. There we go. Pinch it up like that. And then just finish it off by giving it a quick tighten up. The right way around like that. There you go. Now, the last test, and really, really important, spin that wheel. That should not be rubbing at all, but your brakes should work. There you go. Very important to do that bit. Should be no noises when you do that. Should be nice and quiet, not rubbing on the brakes or anything. And then use your brake, make sure it stops. Okay, very important. And lastly, what I want to show you is these screws down here. What I've had in the past is that sometimes these screws catch the frame. If that is the case, then you need to space out more this side than the other side. So again, about placing these washers, I think you'll find for most bikes, the way I've done it will work perfectly. But each bike is individual, so you might need to change the way you space these out. Put some more washers in. We supply thin washers and thick washers. Use those, but the ultimate goal is it slides like that. No noise, no funny click, click, click. There's any screws scraping, and the brakes are fine too. And that's it. That's the wheel on. Okay, so now we've got our battery holder that we've got to fit to the bike. And obviously we've got to fit it here where the old water holder is. So the first thing I've got to do is take off the water holder. So, getting the right Allen key together here. I'm just going to take this off now. And I've loosened it off nicely already. So just take that off of there. And the same with this bottom one. Let's delete that of them there. The same way. And once I've done that, okay, take that out. And now we've got to put the new one on. And what I suggest you do with this is probably position it as low down as you can, really. Give you plenty of room to take the bottle out the top. So you've got nice big slots on here, as you can see. So put it into there. Tighten it up. Oh, God. See what I'm doing. Okay, so you can see now we've got it almost in the right place. You can slide it up and down to fit. I suggest we put it as low as possible, like that. And then when you get it nice and low, just tighten up the screws. Don't overdo it, over tighten them, the plastic screw into plastic there. Be careful you don't over tighten it and break them. Just pinch it up nice and tight like that. That's it. And that's nice and firm. Now what we need to do is obviously get these cables tied up. So I will just point out there's a cable here which is there to plug in a manual thumb control. So we're not using that at the moment, so we're going to use the Bluetooth one. So all we need to do is just tie these up together nice and neat on there, and grab one of our cable ties like this. Now when you put the cable tie on, make sure you don't trap these cables. There's gear cables underneath here, as you can see these. A couple of gear cables and a brake cable. Go underneath those so that you don't squeeze them up, and then pull the tape round, and obviously as per normal just put that through there and pull it up when they're nicely in position. About there. Pull them up. And then using a pair of pliers, I just tend to pull it as tight as I can, like that. And then just slip them off. There. And then I put another cable tie. Put them, probably another one here. And again, make sure you go underneath your cables so that it's nice and neat and tidy. There you go. Just there like that. Put them up nice and tight again. Get the pliers on it just to give it a last little pull. And then snip them off. So you don't catch your legs. There you go. So there's two. And then we're going to go up here a bit further. And then what I do is I'm going to plug it in to my wheel. So we've got the cable on the wheel here, and we now got to connect it up from the cable that's coming from the battery charger. So if we put the two together, you can see there's two arrows on there. I hope you can see those. There's an arrow there, and there's an arrow on the other side. Now what we've got to do is put it together with those arrows lined up. Very important that those arrows are lined up, and then push it together as firm as you can to make it nice and watertight. And you can see the two arrows are still there, one there and one there. I think you can see that quite clearly, so that's cool. Okay, now once you've connected it up, we've now got to fix it onto the bike. So the first thing I do is put a clip on the bike. It's on the fork itself. So I'm going to put this one on the fork. There we go. So put that one on there. Just there, like that. Same again, give it a bit of a tug with the pliers. Get the last little bit done. Then nip it off. Job done. And then pull it up here. This is where you've got to be a little bit clever, because we're going to have a little bit of a loop here where it goes. So what I tend to do is put it onto there first, so that this is all nice, not too tight. Keep it sort of looped up there so it's not too tight, and then put one on there initially, like so. It's all the way around. Again, don't go over your cables, go across the top. Struggling to connect that up. There we go. Pull them up. There we go. And then that. Open that wheel up a little bit more. That's it. Keep a little bit of slack there, and then tighten them up there. There you go. Nice and tight. Give it a little tug to make sure we're as tight as we can be, and cut it off. All the way around, that way around there, like that. Okay, now as you can see, on there nicely, but we've got a bit of a loop here. So what I tend to do is just put the loop there like that. And again, put another cable tie on that to hold the loop in place. Feeding it through so you don't trap your cable, your brake cables. Put it through like that. And there you go. Pull it up nice and tight. And there you go. Oh. There, nice and tidy, all tucked away. Obviously put some more cable, there's quite a few cable clips, you can put some more on there if you wish to tighten it all up. Perfect. That's that bit done. And now you've got your holder in place. Now you've just got to slide your battery in place. And that drops into place. And turn your key, and it's nice and secure, and it's in. That's on, and that's off. And that's it, bottle charm in place. Okay, so now we've put the bottle on and we've put the wheel on, everything's ready to go. However, we now need to put on our display unit. This is our Bluetooth, we call it a Bluetooth display unit. We're going to fit it onto the handlebar here, but obviously you can see there's not enough room for it. You couldn't put it there, it's too thick, etc. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a bit of room for it by moving my gear lever to the left, and I'm going to cut a bit of my grip off so that it fits. Now I've already done this because I fitted this before. I'm only doing this for the video obviously, but I'm just going to show you how we did it. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to loosen this off here. So we're just going to loosen this off now. That's a bit tight, so I'm just going to turn it around the other way. Loosen this gear mechanism off first. Nice and loose, and then just move it out the way a little bit. Now I've got to create enough room here, so I'm going to remove my grip so that I can slide on the display and also cut the grip. So we're now going to lever out. If you can look at the end here, we're going to lever out this end bit. Okay, so I'll lever that out with a flat end screwdriver. If you haven't got end caps, say you've got a solid end to this, then what you need to do is what I'm going to show you now, you need to do at this end here with a screwdriver under here. Okay, but I'm going to show you this end because obviously I think most people have got this type nowadays. Now, what we do then is we push our screwdriver in between the grip and the handlebar. So you can see it going along there like that. And then what we're going to do is lift it up a little bit, and using, which is called MO94, it's the same as WD-40. It's basically a lubricant that will loosen off our grip. Then I just poke in the end there, spray it once like that, and now I work my screwdriver around. And you can see now with that oil in there, very penetrating oil, very quickly goes around there, and I can now pull my handle grip off very easily. I'm hardly pulling that, it's just slipping off quickly like that. So there you go. Now that leaves us the room that we need to slip our grip on. But before I slip that on, I want to wipe off all the excess oil there. So I've gone and got myself a tissue. Just going to wipe off all the penetrating oil, so that when I do put my grip back on, it doesn't slide around. And also, I don't want to get it on the surface of my display unit. Now this is my display unit. I'm going to slide this on here. Before I do, I'm just going to make a note of the Allen key that I want. Because I'm working upside down, I'm just going to put the Allen key in there. And I'm going to slide it on to the right place. Now, to establish that, I'm going to put my grip back where it would be. So I'm going to put it there like that. Okay? And then I'm just going to tighten it up. I've already cut off about ½ an inch of my grip. So I've just removed the last ½ inch so that this can sit in the right place. So I'm going to tighten it up there, like that. In the right place. Put it down the wrong way there, I think. So quickly tighten that up. There you go. That's nice and tight, and that's nicely in place now. Now I'm going to do is put my grip back on. Have a look at that one. So it goes back on the same as the other one. Slips back on very easily. When the oil dries out, that will be a good fit on there. Put it on to match the other side. About there like that. Perfect. Put my end grip back on. So that's back on. And now I'm going to slide this up next to my display unit and tighten it back up again. Okay, so we've now installed our wheel, we've installed our battery, and we've installed our Bluetooth display unit. So now we're going to get the whole thing working together. So we're going to connect up our display unit with our battery, and then we're going to calibrate the wheel for hills, etc. So how do we do that? Quite simple. First thing to do is check that your battery's on. So if you come down to your battery, you've got your red button on the top there, and you just push that once. Listen for that little bleep. Now we know it's on. If you push that and there's no noise, you've just turned it off. So wait for your little bleep. Now you know it's on. Back up to your display unit. Turn your display unit on. That's the middle button, is the power button. Turn that on. Unconscious display. Now what you have to do is you have to calibrate it. So to connect it. So what you're going to do now is hit the middle button, the power button, 3 times quickly. 1, 2, 3. And you see it goes off searching for our battery. Stroke wheel, and it comes out, you get that number in there. Now that's the number that tells you that it's found a battery. And by the way, just to warn you, if you've got 2 of these units, keep the bikes apart while you're doing this, otherwise you could be connected up to your partner's bike. And now you have to accept it by pushing the power button. So there you go, push the power button. And now we've set it. Now we've connected up the display to the battery. So now it knows we're connected. Now what we have to do is calibrate the wheel. So to do that, we hit the top button and the bottom button together and hold them down until, if you watch, it goes 0.08 till they go to 0 like that. Okay, then let go. Now what that's done, that's now told the bike that we're on level ground. And by the way, you should be on level ground when you do that, and the bike should be upright. So a nice and level surface. So you're basically telling your bike that it's on a flat bit of ground. And now that's it, it's ready to go. And if I was to use the thumb control, you will see that it will break up. Okay, so you've got your thumb control there for making the bike run. But also on here, I want you to point to this little window here, this 60 here. This is telling you how much pedal assistance you're going to need. At the moment it's set to 60%, but by using this up and down arrow, you can adjust it. So for instance, you can go down 40, 0. So that means at 0, basically you've got a pedal bike with no electric assistance whatsoever. As you go up, so you go up in steps of 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, you've now got 50% pedal assist. And if you go right the way to the top, to 99, you've got 99%, basically you've got an electric bike It's just going to keep helping you all the time. Pedal assist all the time, 100% of the time. And that's it really. So you can adjust these as you go along the road, so you can adjust them as you're going. And if you want more help, you can more help. And of course you've always got the thumb throttle here if you want to give yourself a boost at any time whatsoever. Now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you how to set up the mobile phone, which is with that app. So I'm going to show you how to put the mobile phone holder on the handlebars, and I'm also going to show you how to set it all up. But before I do, I want to make a big point here. You can only have one or the other on or connected to your bike. You can either have the Bluetooth display connected, or you can have the app on your phone connected. One or the other, but not both, I'm afraid, at the same time. So next I'm going to show you how to install your mobile phone. So now we're going to show you how to fit the mobile phone holder to here, and how to use the mobile phone app to control the bike. So first thing I need to do is to make some room for this holder. So I'm going to move the gear and everything else, the gear levers here, to one side, like that. Just so you left me nice space so I can put my mobile phone holder on. Now the mobile phone holder comes in two parts. So I'm going to put them on there. And this on here, so it just pushes it on. And once you've got it on, you can put the insert back in the middle, like so. And then all I've got to do is screw the fixing screw through there, as I've got here. Put that in there. Start screwing that on. Get my little Allen key. Screw that up there like that. Now, I just put it close to the grip here, so that it's all in as close as possible. And then I'm going to tighten up at a slight angle, so this will be the angle of my phone, so that I can see it as I'm riding. So I put that in there like that, tighten that up, nice and tight. Now I'm going to move my gears all back to here again, tighten them up as close as I can to that part, like that. So that's nice and firm. Now we're going to fit the actual holder, and it goes onto that screw there. That screw screws into there. So just put it in place and screw it up. And what I'm going to do, right, so that tightens up there, so that's now nice and secure. But I've got some little plastic bits I'm going to put inside these little jaws, so that when you push up against your phone, it doesn't crush it. So I'm just going to pop off and get those now. Okay, so I have my little plastic bits here. What they are, they're just sticky. You just pull them out from the rubber. As usual, they haven't come off. Get those off of there. Little pads like that, little rubber pads, and they just go on each one of these four. So I'm just going to install them now. Two coming out there. One onto that one. One onto that one. These are little rubber pads just to sort of protect your phone, so when you tighten it up, you're not going to damage your phone. And obviously you want to hold it as secure as possible as well. There you go, that's the last one. Okay, now when you've done that, you're ready to install your phone. So let's do it. So there's that. And then you just squeeze that up slightly on there. Make it nice and secure. That's very secure now. What we've got to do is download our app. So you go to your Apple store, or if it's wherever your store you need for your particular phone, and then we go in here and we search for We Power, it's called. We've got a hyphen, or is it just straightforward We Power? There you go, we-power, that's the one. Hit that. That's not it, is it? Is it this one? You hit that one there to download it. That one there. So we've downloaded our app and we're nearly ready to open it, but I'm not going to open it yet because the first thing I want to say, remember I said you can only have the app or the display at one time. So we're going to go over to the display and we're going to turn it off, because if you don't turn it off, the other one won't connect. So we just push the off button, push the power button until it goes off by about 5 seconds. Now we can go back to our app, and now we can open our app like that. And when you first open it, can you see it comes up with that? It's just telling you what to do to hit the search button, okay? But this is in the instructions. So what you do is go back one to there, and now I'm going to hit that button there. That's the search button that will search for my bike and try and find it. Let's do that. And our first thing asks you, can you have permission? Say yes, allow while using app. Allow once, that's it, allow while using app. And I'm going to say yes, okay to that. And now it's immediately found my bike. Now, be aware that I've already named my bike Clyde's bike, but when wheels come up, it'll come up as wheel and just that number underneath. So be wary of that. Then all you do is select it, and it connects up the bike automatically. Now, immediately it's connected up. You know it's connected up because it's now getting feedback from my bike. For instance, it's put 00 there, whereas 2 dashes before. It says it's Clyde's bike. It won't say that. It will say whatever the wheel is, the number. And it's got how many miles I've done, etc. But that's because I've been riding my bike, obviously. And it's got the manual button there. So it's now all ready to go. And all we need to do, while you're in the manual setting, that is exactly the same as the setting we had on the other, on our Bluetooth display. But unlike our Bluetooth display, you can actually move this in 1% increments. So rather than jumping in 10 increments, 10-point increments, it can go from 0 to 99. When it's on 99, it's almost full electric. You don't need to pedal really, it just carries you forward. When you're on 0, it's fully pedal. You've got to pedal all the time. Somewhere in the middle, like 50%, you're going to get 50% assist when you're pedaling. So it'll help you 50% of the time. And while you're riding, you can adjust this as you go. Just be careful not causing any danger or losing control of your bike. But you control it, as you can see, up and down. So the last thing we've got to do before we start riding our bike is calibrate it. So we hit the setting button there, and you've got a gyro angle. That's the selection you need. You select that. That will come up with this, and it's asking you to calibrate the angle. In other words, you need to have back for this. It says on there, you have to be on a horizontal position. You have to be on a level bit of ground. So you're basically telling it that you're level, upright as you can, at 90 degrees to the ground, so that you can give it a start position. And then we do a calibration like that. What it will do, it'll recalibrate and it'll put 00 there for you. And now you know that it's calibrated correctly, as long as you're on a level bit of ground. And now we're ready to go. I'm going to do another video showing you all the different things you can use with the app, which is very, very good. But just for now, I'm going to show you one other little thing, this start button here. If you've got a bigger screen than mine, that might be appearing normally. I just have to lift my screen up a little bit, and there it is. Now, if I push that, it's a bit like a thumb control. So when I'm riding, if I want to push that, what will happen is my wheel will start going. So what I'm going to do is just lift the bike up a little bit so the wheel doesn't go. Can I do that? And then push the button. And there you go. And let go of the button and it stops. So basically the start button is like a phone control on your app. And now it's time for a ride. So I'm going to take it out the front and give it a go. Right, so all done. Let's see how it goes. I'm off. Lovely and easy. I'm up for a ride. Up to Beach Head. Bye.